Computer Paul will be here in the building, responsible for all these songs I'm playing, including this one, Inner Circle. Big up to everybody on the Facebook check-in, the Instagram check-in, CHYNA NICOLE. Love, love.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? When you were 8 and you had that treat, you go to school and learn the golden rule. So why are you acting like a bloody fool? If you get hot, then you must get cool. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do?
You want to listen to us on the telephone, 712-432-6858, 712-432-6858. Inner Circle.
It on your sister, you chuck it on that one and you chuck it on me. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come?
This is for all the rude boys, you know?
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when
But we can't forget about the ladies, you know what I'm saying? We can't forget about the ladies. Inner Circle, set speed. Sweat.
Standing across the room, I saw you smile. I said I wanna talk to you for a little while. But before I make my move, my emotions start running wild. My tongue gets tied, and that's no lie. Looking in your eyes, I'm looking in your big brown eyes. Oh yeah, I've got this to say to you. Hey, girl, I want to make you sweat, sweat till you can't sweat no more. And if you cry out, I'm gonna push it some more. Girl, I want to make you sweat, sweat till you can't sweat no more. And if you cry out, I'm gonna push it some more.
Wow, do I love Inner Circle. Such a pleasure meeting them. Hi, Inner Circle, Roger, and everyone. Michael Sterling, who also played. Hello. I can see so clearly now.
I can see all obstacles in my way.
But I give special people the homage.
Gone over the dark clouds that had me blind.
Hitmaker Computer Paul will be here very shortly. This is Jimmy Cliff. Another Computer Paul production.
It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Oh yes, I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been waiting for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.
The catalog is so big with Computer Paul, the hits after hits, so wide and varied, so vast. I wish I just played all day and all day. Barrington Levy, Murderer. He was here actually on Linkage Radio just the other day with Linkage.
Tell them already, we have to tell them.
If you missed that interview, make sure you log on to the YouTube channel, Linkage Radio.
Tell them already, we have to tell them a murderer.
Computer Paul's production.
I'm a murderer. Them coming on me area want to kill off the youth. No dress up in that jacket and them dress up in that tie. Come a courthouse want to tell pale lies. Them a murderer.
This is a record like that anthem record. You know how Stone Love had a record? This is the anthem record for all dance hall, I swear. They like start off their set with this.
Come kick out the coming at them, they want to leap off my head. Coming to my lane, want to fly out my brain. Them dress up in that jacket and them dress up in that tie. Want to deprive, I'm mad for my rights. Them a murderer.
Thank you, Barrington Levy. You're such a king in your own right. This is Akon, Mama Africa, another Computer Paul production.
Can you feel it? So much love to share. Pure blackness, one so much love. Now, much love to share. Sweet so much love to give. Let them know they miss it now. Sing again. It's for all the love and the life took away. Don't forget we were bought and trade. Ripped from the land and shipped away. I is the inspiration we use to survive. You have to see it with your own pride. Don't play adding up and alright. You don't know the land is so gold and green. The place is so fresh and clean. And every day I water my garden. Tell it to feel it deep in your heart. And the space is so cool and nice. Visit once, guaranteed to visit twice. And if you just believe in the Most High, I know you'll be alright. Mama Africa has so rare.
I tell you, the music is so vast and varied, you know, from DJs to singers, dancehall, reggae, fusion, and pop. This is also a nice classic here too. Stevie Faith in The Living Years. Beautiful video too. I revisited this morning.
Every generation blames the one before, and all of their frustration comes beating on your door. I know I am a prisoner to all my father also.
I said I wasn't going to take any calls, but you know when it's getting so hot and you just want to show the love. So let's see who this is on the phone. Linkage Radio, you're live on the CHYNA NICOLE show.
Hey China, what's up? This is Computer Paul calling you from Jamaica.
This is Computer Paul?
Yep.
Hi, wait, you called so early. What happened? Wait, honey, wait. Linkage, we got to get this archived. Oh my gosh, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm well. Oh, Linkage. He is going to record you. So hold on. Don't go anywhere, okay? Stay right there. I just want to make sure we record you, okay? All right, lovely. Don't go anywhere. You can't go anywhere because your music is timeless. So you got to stay. Stay. Hold on.
I wasn't there that morning when my father passed away. Oh, I didn't get to tell him all the things I had to say. Ooh, I thought I caught a spirit later that same year. I thought I heard his echo in my baby's newborn tears. I wish that I could have told him in the living years. Won't you sing with me? Say it loud. Won't you sing it clear? Sun as well as you hear. Won't you sing this song, my people? Too late when we die. We don't sing.
Mr. Computer Paul?
Yeah.
Hi. We had to make sure because, Linkage, he's recording. Okay. Linkage just got back from Jamaica and, I wasn't doing too many interviews without him here just to ensure that interviews like this are properly archived.
I keep hearing a beep, so I'm hearing a beep constantly, so I'm not hearing you too well.
You're not hearing me too well. And also, I don't know if it's the radio turned up in your dwelling where you are.
No, I have no radio. I'm actually calling you from a Jacksonville.
Okay. I can hear you. Can you hear me better?
The beep stopped.
The beep stopped? Okay.
Yeah, the beep stopped now, yeah.
Well, welcome. It's such an honor to...
I was actually just calling in to let you know that I'm testing the lines.
Oh, okay. So are you ready to start the interview officially? Because we're ready.
Yeah, because you said 3:30 my time. It's 3:25 now. So
okay. Yeah, Okay. I was, well, first of all, welcome to the CHYNA NICOLE show on Linkage Radio, formally, officially. And we broadcast from Mount Vernon. And you can hear us in the Bronx and Mount Vernon and also around the world via TuneIn, Ustream, telephone, Skype. So would you like to say hello to all your fans?
Oh, definitely. I want to say hello to New York and all the Linkage Radio supporters and listeners, what's up and big up.
Good. Now, you're so laid back, and I don't know if it's the level of success. You're like cool and calm. I would love to hear your voice louder. Maybe it's just my headphones, but I'm not hearing you like all of you, like volume up.
Okay.
That.
Okay, I'll try to talk up a little bit anyway.
Okay, I don't think the connection's too great.
Now?
Yeah, but at the connection I hear a little static, but we're gonna work with it. Okay, so.
All right. I mean, I can call him and try it.
No, I don't want to lose you again. So let's just work with it.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Okay. So tell us first of all, your official name is Paul Henton, correct?
Henton, right? Mm-hmm.
Right, Paul Henton, and Computer Paul is your name. We'll get into.
Henton,
yeah. What were you saying?
Yeah, I grew up in Jamaica.
Okay.
I started my childhood in Jamaica. For the most part, went abroad in my early 20s. Lived in New York for many years. We started music before I left Jamaica. I was actually playing in different bands and stuff like that. Quite a few bands in Jamaica. And when I went to New York, I hooked up with a band called Moniaka in New York, and it was an all. There used to be a cover reggae band, well, so to speak. They used to back artists from Jamaica, Master Griffiths, Black Uhuru, you name it, during the late 70s. And when I joined, they were in the transition to an all original reggae band. So, yeah, that's how I got kind of rooted in the New York scene.
Okay.
Early 80s.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit. You were born. You know what you hear? You hear people calling, trying to get a hold of you. That's what you hear. Okay, so you were born where in Jamaica?
Kingston, actually in Town in Jamaica, but I grew up in Harborview, that is close to the airport in Kingston.
Okay, you grew up in Harborview. Now, you say you left Jamaica at a young age to come to New York, yes?
Well, not exactly young, so I finished high school, did a bit of college at, it was CAS back then, it's UTech now. I did telecommunications. Worked for a while with Jamaica Telephone Company at the time. I guess they transitioned to their Lime now. So I did that in the 5 bit for a while.
I see. So, okay. So when you were growing up in Jamaica, did you aspire to be a producer or a musician?
I think, yeah, the producer part of it came on later on in the game. But growing up, I always admired musicians. It was different then. When you see a musician with his instrument or you see a musician on stage, I was just totally in awe. And then I went to KC, which is Kingston College in Jamaica, and a lot of good musicians came out of KC. There was always one piano. Well, actually, yeah. In my time, there was actually one piano, which was in the chapel or the church, the school church at the time, and it was like forbidden playing what we call popular music on it at the time. But I, sneak in and watch the whole guys. You had guys like Augustus Pablo, guys like Tyrone Downie, who was the keyboard player for the Wailers. Some really great musicians, keyboard players especially, right at the time. I'd stand around and watch. You couldn't touch the piano when they were playing because they were the masters.
Where did you watch Augusto Pablo, the Wailers? Like, where were you? Take us there in your childhood. Where were you when you were watching them play and in awe of the musicianship?
That was in school. In school, during the break time in school, we had a piano in the school chapel, and you would just watch them playing the popular songs of the day, and like, whoa, yeah, so yeah, that was where the what guys say bit me as far as being a musician. And when I was graduating from high school, I was leaving from fifth form, and some friends of mine said they wanted to start a band, and I couldn't really play, and I fool around on the piano, because my mother was a piano player and she used to do music as well, so but I never really took any lessons from her because I was not really into the formalities of learning, and at the time too, I wanted to play reggae music, rocksteady was the music of the day then. I wanted to play rocksteady. I wasn't much interested in playing the rhythm for so that it was. Yeah, I wanted to jump and to speak. Yeah, so
that's interesting.
That really was kind of like my inspiration.
That's interesting. You didn't want. You said the rocksteady was forbidden in your home. Is that what you said?
No, it wasn't. Playing on the school piano was forbidden, but they still played it. But no, yeah. Well, my mom wanted to teach me the proper way to learn classical music and
right.
read and all of that. And I just wanted to bang. I wanted to play reggae, which she always said I was banging her piano.
So your mom, is she still alive?
She wanted me to play some real music.
Is your mom still alive?
No, she's not.
Okay.
No, she's not.
Condolences.
A couple years ago.
Okay, but she was able to witness your journey, your successful plight.
Oh yes, definitely.
Good.
Because
Good.
When I went to New York, my whole family migrated actually before me because I didn't want to leave Jamaica. I was like, I'm going to be the one to hold on the fort. What I mean? So in my early 20s, you get left with a house and a car, and young and crazy. Eventually I migrated, and when I hooked up with Moniaka, that was when really I started really taking it seriously.
Money who? Can you say that name again?
I mean, prior to that, I always tell this story. Prior to that, as I say, we were in fifth form. We started a little band and stuff. I was very green. I took my summer holiday and learned to play guitar. And just enough that I could be functional, so to speak.
Right.
I wasn't anywhere up to a virtuoso or up to even the standard of most musicians that I knew. But I just wanted to be in it so bad that I said, well, this band not going to leave me. So I learned a couple chords and could start playing with them. And we kind of grew from there, and that was really my first start. But how I got into recording, which is the story that I wanted to tell, was Fred Lox, and he's a big singer, international reggae singer. He lives in Harborview as well, and he came to my house one day and said, boy, he has a studio session and he wanted me to come and play. And I said, I was like, whoa, excited, because I'm like, So anyway, he was supposed to meet me and another guitarist from Harborview who were going to play guitar. He was somebody who was a seasoned studio musician, and I was just a little guy coming. And when we got to the studio, which was Treasure Isle, which is Street Studio, which is
Yes.
just about before it closed down. I went into that studio one time. But anyway, when we walked into the studio today, I was so nervous because when the other musicians that were on the session was like superstars in my eyes. It was Sly Dunbar on drums, Robbie Shakespeare on bass,
Wow.
while Lindo from Wailers was on boards, and and we were supposed to be playing guitar. But when we were ready to start recording the song now, the guy who's the season pro said to everybody, he's going to play rhythm guitar and I'll play lead guitar. And I'm just learning to play rhythm guitar.
Oh my gosh.
So it's almost like throwing me off in the deep end. So, yeah, I was like, okay. So I did my little thing. It turned out well because I think we recorded 2 tracks that day for Fred Lox, and the 2 of them were very big songs for Fred Lox.
Really?
You know, when, yeah, 2 really big songs for Fred Lox. But you have to know, Fred Lox told me that what is the last session?
You're cracking up. Your voice is cracking up. Computer Paul. Computer Paul, you got to repeat that. You have to repeat that because you're cracking up. I don't know. Your voice is cracking up. Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I said years later, Fred Lox confessed to me that Robbie Shakespeare in the session called him one side and said, what was he trying to do if he was trying to destroy his career by bringing in this unknown musician in his session.
Oh my God.
So anyway, by the time we were ready to put on the first song, Sly shouted out from the drum booth, no man, you look you sound tough man, make him play man, go on good. So that was a little encouragement for me. And
that was nice.
I always remember that situation because, I'm going into the studio first time to see all these legends ready. So it was good. But
I can imagine.
So Fred Lox was the first person who took me to the recording. So I just always say that. And big up Fred Lox wherever you are.
Big up Fred Lox. That's awesome. That's an awesome story. The first time you actually recorded was with Sly Dunbar and Robbie Shakespeare and somebody from the Wailers, a keyboardist you said from the Wailers? That's so you were ready. You begun on the stardom ship, if you will. That was a good setup.
Got thrown in the deep end of the pool still, but we struggled out and survived.
Yes. Now this was prior to you moving to migrating to New York, yes?
Yeah, that was prior.
Okay.
Well, a year or before I came to New York.
Okay. And can you repeat the name you said that I wrote Monikia? Was it that? Can you say that name again? The person.
Monyaka. Monyaka.
Moniaka.
Yeah, I think 81, 82. We had a big in New York, which went to even top of the pops in Britain as well. I think it went to like number 7 on the British chart.
What song was that?
The song was called Gode Yaka.
Oh.
Gode Yaka.
Gode Yaka.
So Dehyaka. Yaka.
Okay, so
playing on WBLS. Not a lot of reggae songs make it to WBLS. Back
right.
Because that was like an all-time American R&B.
Right.
Station, so.
Right, and it went on that station, right? Because they had the sister station, LIB. Right. Frankie Crocker is like the doctor of radio.
Yeah, most Jamaican records or reggae songs were on LIB, but there were always a couple songs that would make it to WBLS, and we were luckily at the time to have to be one of those that had songs played at WBLS,
Absolutely, and you're saying in the 80s, right? This was the 80s to give us a time frame.
Yeah, this is the early 80s.
Early 80s.
81 to 2.
So walk us through that story, just for clarity. You moved to New York. How did you meet with this person, Moniaka? How did you meet him? Or was he from the band?
I actually met the guitarist from Moniaka, a guy named Earl Moore. I went down to the music store in Manhattan one day, just browsing through, because, at that time we couldn't even afford to buy with instruments because they were kind of out of price range. But I just go down there and look after them, and hopefully one day I'd be able to buy a good bass guitar or something. Mm-hmm. And I'm Earl there, and we're reasoning, and I realized he was from Jamaica, and he said that he has a band and he needed a bass player. I was playing bass prior to leaving Jamaica as well. Mm. So that's how we hooked up, and we just used to rehearse like day in, day out. We'd rehearse endlessly.
I don't think people know that. I don't think they know, because your name is Computer Paul. I don't think they know that you're a real musician, that you rehearsed every single day, and your first session was with Sly and Robbie and the Wailers.
I'm not just a beat maker that sits around a drum machine.
I'm glad we got that out, Computer Paul. Okay, so you rehearse relentlessly. Yeah. Repeat what you said. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I said I was doing it from the days when you have had 6 musicians in the studio playing live together. Yeah, I was doing it before then. Then
Wow.
the change came around where drum machines came in and got popular, and I didn't want to get left out of that revolution, so I ended up there.
So okay.
Somewhere around that time, I got the name Computer Paul. That's another studio.
Right.
Give myself that name. Yeah.
You didn't want to. And actually, in my file, I'm looking at the word Computer Paul, the name Computer Paul, at my screen here. So, okay. So you met Earl and Maniaca, and you created this hit. Then what happened?
Good. I stayed with Maniaca. I stayed for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when things, have a hit record, your life generally don't change forever. You know what I mean? Seems that way. And we were young and we were excited. And they wanted to give us all, the record company, they wanted to give us all the limousine and champagne life. And, and there was always something that was telling me, say, oh, be careful because whatever they spend on you, they will take back. Which ended up being the reality. You know what I mean? Every party that was happening, in Manhattan, they wanted to send limousines for us, and I said, "Don't worry, you guys, come on, it's gonna be great." But at the end of the year, the record company took back every dollar. But the reality of it is that we got shafted financially in that band, and we had a big hit record and never made money.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and the record company folded. They went out of business right after that.
It's the story of so many hit makers. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, you saying that? So the company folded.
Repeat that from China. Yeah, the company folded, and it was. I learned later on that this was a regular practice. They'd fold, like, resurface under different names, and do the same thing. Get one big hit and disappear in the woodworks again, and
I tell you. So you had this hit all over the world. You're building a name. Computer Paul wasn't the name yet, right?
No. It was Wellington. I was just the bass player.
Bass player. So pianist to guitarist to bass player. Excellent. And so what happened after 3 years with Maniaca and the big hit? Company folded. What did you do after?
We realized not much was happening, and I had a child then, and
Congrats.
go to work and take care of your baby, and we were rehearsing straight, and we'd do one show every 3 months. So I said, I think it's time to get a part-time job. But I guess me getting the part-time job didn't sit too well with some other members of the band, and they said they wanted somebody full-time. So they said it's best that I leave, and I said, okay. And I did what I had to do as a man to take care of my family.
Very good for you.
I just went along. And yes, and that was about the time. The good thing about it, too, was that was about the time music started to make the transition to being computerized. More drum machines. It was about the Slenteng era now, with King Jammies and all that. And that's what I want to do. And I had all these ideas in my head that I say, if I was putting a composition together and I could play bass and keyboard and strings and horns and whatever from a keyboard and put my ideas together, I'd be happy doing that. So I went full stream. Actually, the bug actually hit me when I went to Japan. I went to Japan. The first Japan splash that was kept in Tokyo was 1985, and I was playing keyboards with Max Romeo. It was a big star at the time.
Yes.
And Max Romeo was the actual headliner for that. You had Freddie McGregor, Jimmy Riley, a lot of people from Judy Moore from Jamaica.
But how did you get that gig? How did you get that gig if you weren't really known then? Just Link?
There was a studio up in the Bronx called the Bulwaki. Wackies, some people call it Wackies. But they were by place Upper Bronx, 241st, somewhere up in that area. But I used to go there a lot because I had some brethren who had a band, Ethiopia. And, I'd always go up there and jam with them and ride with them. We weren't making any money. I'd take the train from Brooklyn, which is where I lived, and we go there. But we just had a joy and a love for the music, and it didn't matter. So I guess we always used to come to that studio and check Wacky and stuff. So he said, hey, these guys can play some, but why not use them on the tour in Japan? So that was it. The company that took us there was Tachyon. And it was the first reggae Japan splash that was ever held.
Oh, congrats.
I think outside of Bob Marley and the Wailers, there weren't many Jamaicans that ever went prior to Japan to perform.
Wow. And I'm sure that was a great show, right? Max Romeo? You guys backing Max Romeo?
Yes. I mean, it was one
The response?
What stood out in my mind on that show is that in the middle of Max Romeo's performance, rain started to pour, and I don't know where Japanese people got raincoats from. That was nice and sunny days, so you wouldn't think that rain would fall. But out of nowhere, everybody had on raincoats. They stood up in the rain, and look at the stage covered.
Wow.
So they stood up, and that's when I knew that reggae had a great power, because they could stand up in the rain just to watch. A lot of people didn't have raincoats still, and they stood there and got wet and watched the show.
So this was your first big show?
So why I told you that story in China is while I was in Japan, that was the first time I was passing a museum and saw this guy demonstrating a computer. I think it was an Atari computer, I think, at the time. There weren't many computers at the time. And he was demonstrating playing different keyboards from this computer. He was like programming everything from the computer. I was like, yes, this is definitely what I want. And when I got back to the States, phoned me a computer, and those were the days when you turn on the computer screen, you just see one line of writing. It was that, and it was, very primitive, very primitive. Yet the music program they had then was, as good as what they have now. Might not have all the bells and whistles, but it was rock solid in making music. So I came back and launched right into that. So that was the start of computer party era.
Wow. In Japan, on stage with Max Romeo, and visiting the sites, I guess, and saw someone on a computer, and you were fascinated with that device.
Right, definitely.
That's interesting. That's awesome. So then you return to New York, you start playing with this computer, and then what? What evolves? How did all these hits? What happened?
I tell you, it's all when I got to New York and bought my first, it was a IBM PC, the only IBM made computers then. Mac was just probably starting to make computers, but we had what we call a clone, which is a cheap version of the IBM PC, and that was very expensive at the time. And we got that and started doing that thing. I met a dread in Bush. His name was Frank Bravel. We call him King Bravel. And he said, why I had not come to some work with me because I have a studio. I was like, yeah. But anyway, when I went and he showed me his studio, it was all apart. He bought a studio off somebody who wanted some quick money or was getting out of the business. He had a complete studio. It was a small studio. It wasn't a mere studio. And it's like, can you put this together? And I didn't have the first clue how to put it together. But I told him yes.
You are, you know what? I'm learning about you. The world is learning about you that you're very confident. Even you take these risks. I got to give you a sound effect. You take these risks. From playing with Sly Dunbar and Robbie Shakespeare and the icon from the Wailers, I don't remember his name, the keyboardist. You took a risk then, and then here it is. Thank you, Lindo. Thank you, dear. Lindo. And then now, years later, and the computer, as you call it, the evolution of computers, you're challenged to design a whole studio.
Yes. And as I said, I didn't know the first thing, but I started reading some books and I started asking everybody, connect that to that, and no, you connect that to that. And eventually, I was able to get it up and running. And didn't know anything about engineering. I just used to come back in the days. If you went to a studio, you couldn't ask the engineers to tell you, why did you patch that card into that card? Because you'd probably get some Jamaican expletives, So I just kind of observed, when I went to studios and said, okay, patching that to that, and you got a particular sound or effect. And I did it, and eventually the studio came to the fore, and I tell you, that studio has been a landmark in Brooklyn. I don't know. It's not functional anymore, I think.
Really?
But,
What's the name of the studio?
that studio.
What's the name of it?
King Bravel. It was on Bushwick Avenue. I mean, you had people like Sugar Mine that came there to record, Barrington, Levy, Super Cat, Nicodemus, you name it. They all came to that little studio.
And what was the Dread's name again? What was the Dread's name?
King Bravel.
King Bravo. So the name of the studio was named after the Dread, King Bravo, on Bushwick Avenue.
Yeah, King Bravel studio, you know.
And you put that studio together.
In Bushwick, you know, in the ghetto in Bushwick, you know, yeah, but
that's where it
everyone
happens.
would come there, and it was the only studio time that would have a sound that would rival what was coming out of Jamaica, like King Jam, that sound. I mean, we weren't as sophisticated or had the quality of them, but the music had a vibe and an energy coming out of it, so it was the dance studio.
That's excellent. You're a genius.
CNF studio in Long Island, which is Philip Smart. And everybody knows Philip Smart. There's a lot of recordings there as well.
Wait a minute. Wait, repeat that regarding Philip Smart.
Prior to this, prior to this, China, I was part of a studio band that recorded a lot of songs over at HCNF, that is Philip Smart, over in Long Island.
Right.
And many hits came out of the studio, especially for Jalive, because Jalive was a good producer at the time, and I'm sure he's still a good producer now too. You know, but Jalive, you know, Sister Carol's album, Ski and Success, Barrington Leaving, Murderer, all of these songs were recorded by us here. A lot, Carlton Livingston, 100, with the Cardweed, all of them songs in that studio, you know. So we were the backing musicians.
I see.
For most of those tracks.
Incredible. I'm digesting, and I know the audiences are too. They're digesting what you're saying. You know, just the fact that you put the studio together without the know-how and was able to do it, that's genius in itself. And knowing that some of these hits came out of from not that particular studio, but Philip Smart studio, which I do know, and had some works there. You know, to segue a little bit, I have to bring in Linkage designed this studio too and built it. So that's I don't know, you Jamaican men, when you really want to do something. I'm sorry?
And also he's a musician too.
Yes.
I knew him as a drummer.
Yes. He said you're supposed to be coming up here, and I said I would love to talk to you live.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I always don't leave him out at all, though. We've always had a good link.
That's good.
Years, you know, I mean,
He's a good guy.
He's all supported my thing, you know.
Yes. That's excellent.
Sometimes I have to knock on his door quite hard. Sometimes.
Get him, me too. Oh, love it.
Yeah, he definitely has been supported.
Awesome. Okay, so you mentioned the hits, and you kind of glazed over that. By the way, Mr. Henton, Mr. Paul Henton, you kind of glazed over, you know, Barrington Levy. You said all these names. Don't think I'm not listening now. So tell us, when you built the studio in Brooklyn.
Actually, Hit by Moniaka was recorded at ACNF as well. But Yaka was recorded there.
Oh, okay. So that linkage was still going on.
Yeah, actually, there were so many hits that came out of that studio that time that I kind of lose track of some of them. I listened to some of them in my discography, but you know, some of them I've definitely forgotten.
I was playing a lot of them, and audiences they were calling up, and I'm like, I can't take all these calls. I want to play the songs. Listeners know I love them. So they were your production, like you went in and crafted it and did the
producing then.
I'm sorry?
No, I wasn't producing then. I was just a studio musician, and we played live, and we did a live shows, because then there were a lot of live shows happening in New York, especially at Empire Roller Rink. I don't know if anybody remembers.
Yeah, I remember that.
Empire Roller Rink was almost every weekend they did shows there. You know what I mean? So it was a good time for us musicians. We stayed busy. Although eventually it started to get a little ugly, because there were a lot of shootings and you know, all kind of
yes.
experience. Eventually, you know, we kind of what to feel. I kind of drew more to the studio.
Right.
At that point.
I see.
But my transition.
Right. You're good. You're good. That's my next question. Go ahead.
I'd say about 1985, 86. I produced my first single. And it was a record by Charmian de Costa. She was called Charmian Bubble at the time. And that record did very well. She did a cover of Say Yes by Climax. Yeah.
She did a cover of what? You chipped out a little bit. Repeat that again.
Say Yes, Say Yes, Say Yes, Say Yes by Climax.
Oh, Say Yes by Climax. Yes.
Climax.
Yes, of course.
Say Yes, yeah. Yeah, and that record did very well, which I didn't expect because it was simple little recording, non sophisticated, no arrangements, nothing. The drum and bass and a piano and a voice. Yeah, I mean, what it did very well in the UK. You know, people to this day still remember that stuff.
I would like to play it. I love Climax.
That was hard for me. Yeah.
That was your first. So she was she signed?
I also want to tell you, China, how
Yeah.
the name Computer Paul came about. So
Okay, go ahead. Because I'm thinking about what I was thinking about is when did the first record, when you were actually signed to the label to get all these big hits, monster hits. But go ahead, tell us about Computer Paul because I don't want to forget that while we're here. Yes, tell us.
Right. I used to do a lot of recording out by ENF, and I was working with an artist called Winston Jones. He used to get a lot of airplay on WLIB, and we did a record over there. Myself and a drummer named Danny Marshall. Danny Marshall played drums.
Pick up Danny Marshall!
I have to pick up Danny Marshall. He was like the second half of my drum and bass team, you know what I mean? We had a combination together. I was playing bass and he was playing drums. And we toured with, Yellow Man, you name it, we toured with them.
Wow.
You know, myself and Danny Marshall. So big up Danny. Yeah, and Winston Jones, when the record came out, prior to the record coming out, he came to one day and said, one name must put on record for you. And I said, Fred, that's my name. And said, no man, I can't use that man, cause you're not gonna bust with that name ever.
Who said this?
I said, okay. Yeah, Winston Jones.
Winston Jones. Okay.
Yeah, he said if you use the right name, you don't bust with that name. So I said, okay. I just kind of brush it off. I said, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? So anyway, he checked me a couple of days later and gave me a copy of the record. And I started, he had Computer Paul. I was like, who is this? And said, are you that man? That name I used for you from now on. I was like, okay. And all along, even up to when I said okay, it's like, but you know, eventually just soaked in and everybody kind of took to the name, and yeah, I'm glad of it because people know the name.
That is amazing. Seriously, that a friend of yours just so this is your name. I saw it go. Yeah, man. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's a baptized Christian, you know what I mean?
Okay, so tell us about the monster hit. Okay, so you had this hit with this lovely lady from I don't know if she's from the UK, but you said it was popular in the UK.
Charmian
DaCosta.
She went on, for the listeners who know the female World of Girls, they came up during the time of Charm, but they were New York based. I think it was about 5 of them in the group. But World of Girls, Charmian eventually was one of the singers in World of Girls.
Okay.
So, you know, but yeah, at the time, you know, as I said, matter of fact, it was a song I heard on the radio that I like. Because that's sometimes how I work. If I hear a song that really hits me, I say, hey, you know, because, you know, I'll list not here. But when I do hear, it's like, yeah, something about that one is special. So, you know, we did that song and that was it, you know what I mean? That's for me the start of just saying, yeah, I feel like inspired, like I can do this. Yeah, production might be my calling, you know what I mean?
Right.
And usually most musicians will eventually grow into being producers, you know what I mean? But that was my calling, and I started from there, and I said that was the late 80s, and I just did a string of, and you know, I moved from New York 1990 to 91. I went to Florida to live, and you know, I love New York still. I mean, to me, it was just like the weather. I mean, after a while, I couldn't take another winter. You know, so I said, Yes, so
That is very good. It does get cold in the
so
winters.
Florida was close to Jamaica, and I just love the idea of being close to Jamaica.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
because I'm a lover of Jamaica at
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about my love for Jamaica.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I'm here in Jamaica.
Okay, so you're located in Jamaica.
I met up with I met up with legendary producer Willie Lindo, who produced
Yes.
many hits.
Yes.
GC Lot, Someone Loves You, Honey, Dennis Brown, Separate album, Wild World, Maxi Priest. So Willie had a string of big reggae hits. I Want to Wake Up With You, Boris Gardner. All these songs, Willie Lindo. So he's a real producer. He's a musician as well. He's a great guitar player. So at first I was very nervous to work with Willie because Willie was a legend at the time. I mean,
Yeah.
I was still a rookie, so to speak. So I kind of humbled myself and just became a musician. But I learned so much from working with Willie Lindo, and I must say, if Willie Lindo listening or any of his relatives listening, just really thanks because I learned so much from Willie Lindo. Yeah.
Big up to Willie Lindo. Really quickly. When I went to Florida, I fell in love with Florida all over again. Just this past, I don't know, May or whatever, June. And I spoke to Willie Lindo on the phone for the very, very first time. And I wanted to meet him so badly. Ian Sweetness, big up to him, is like my brother in the business. He called him. Yeah, and we couldn't meet though. He was.
Really works well with females.
I know, and it was this bad timing, we weren't able to meet. I did meet Inner Circle though, but I wasn't able to meet Willie Lindo. So hopefully I'll meet him one day.
One of the main things that I learned from Willie.
Yeah.
He said to me, you're producing music, make sure you spend time on it.
Mm-hmm.
The audience listening might not know what is different about your music, but they'll just know that there's something special about it. And so always put your time and your heart and your love in it, and your passion, and people will connect with it. And I learned that lesson. So my thing has always been not out a lot of songs, but try to make sure that the ones that I put out, they will last. I really learned that from Willie Lindo.
Wow.
And
What an
track
honor.
record shows, he's a hit maker. But one of the first projects I did with Willie Lindo, at the time, CHYNA was the Love Bump Ridge. Many hits came off of that. Wayne, Love You Too Much, Never Stop King You. Thing I Stewart, Inside My Heart. But yeah, Jimmy Riley. Kashif Lindo had a big song on it too.
Wow.
So it was the first, and we had a lot of good product come out of that combination between Willie and Lindo. Because Willie at first when I went there, Willie sit there while I was working, and he'd tell me, oh, change that and fix that. Eventually Willie would just leave me in the video and just give me free rein to do what I can.
That's nice.
Because by then he had confidence in me.
Right.
Sometimes Willie wouldn't even want the guitar. When I was finished, he'd be like, yeah man, the track is fine, let's run with it. So
How long were you working with him?
at the time,
Yeah, that's excellent experience when they have that confidence in you and they're able to leave you alone to work.
Right, I spent about 3 years at least. I spent about 3-4 years really. And during that time I was back and forth because during that time I produced I Can See Clearly Now for Jimmy Cliff. So,
Which I played today.
I was back and forth, New York, Jamaica, still working. And I was at that time I was in a lot more stuff in Jamaica, like in rhythms, and one of the first rhythms that I did in Jamaica was a hit, which was the corduroy rhythm.
Yes, I recorded on that rhythm.
Bogle, right,
Anyway,
anyway,
yeah.
Right, the whole Bogle movement.
Yeah, that was a hot rhythm.
And Gali, Louis Culture.
The dance, the tatty.
Songs came out of that rhythm.
The tatty dance.
You're not old enough to remember those dances.
Don't be fooled, baby.
Maybe you see them on videos or something.
Don't be fooled. You'll be surprised if you find out how old I really am. But anyway, yeah. So you already had this hit rhythm, and working with Willie Lindo and traveling back and forth. Okay, so the you mentioned now you glazed it. I like how you glazed over stuff. So the Jimmy Cliff record was like the major record first for you. Would you say?
That was for me as far as my own production. That was my biggest success to date. And it's funny enough, that I always tell young musicians that sometimes it's not always about the money, because some of the best things that I've experienced and doors opening for me came out of situations where there was no money, or the money was small. But, we always put the music first. You know what I mean? And, we worked with, prior to work Jim Cliff, before I got that gig, I was working with World Girl. The same connection came from Charmian, who I did that first record that I produced with. She became a member of Girl. She recommended me to the record company and said, yeah, Paul is good for the produce album. So I started working with them, and when I'm working with them, the A&R at the time at Columbia Records was Maxine Stowe.
Yes.
And
Sugar Minot's wife, ex-wife.
Said, right, say Maxine Stowe. I think she manages Bonnie Wailer now.
Oh, okay.
She came up for a meeting and said, look, Paul, there's a song that Jimmy Cliff has to do for a movie. And like how you're here working with the girls already, would you come to Jamaica and record Jimmy Cliff? I was like, Jimmy Cliff? Wow. That's a whole nother level.
But wait a minute. We know that from this interview that Mr. Paul Henton, Computer Paul, he has confidence. He takes those risks, right?
Oh yes, yeah. I definitely wasn't backing down from it because and I like challenging. For me, if you tell me that I can't do something, I'll prove you wrong.
Right.
I like to hear people say Computer Paul is washed up now. I love to hear that because that just gives me more incentive to hit them with something else harder. So I had no doubt. When I went to Jamaica to record Jimmy, as a matter of fact, that's another story too. Jimmy was actually doing an album at the time, and I remember he called me when I was in Florida and said, look, the record company, like, you're the person gonna do the album and stuff. So I'll be in Jamaica in the next couple of weeks, and I'd love to meet you. So cool. I went to Jamaica and called him up and said, yeah, come to the mixing lab, having a meeting today, a production meeting. And China, when I went into that meeting, it was like my first studio session again, all over.
Wow.
There were musicians. The top musicians in Jamaica were there. We were talking about Diane Robbie. We're talking about musicians from the Wailers. We're talking about Hans Tucker, Clive Hunt. The cream of the crop.
Oh my gosh.
Musicians and producers were there. Robbie Lynn, Keith Sterling, you name them, they were there. And it was cassettes, and they were playing. Jimmy was playing his demos on a cassette. And I started listening to the songs, and the demo, he's putting his best songs first, and then all the big names, they're like, okay, I'll do number 1 and I'll do number 3, and you go on until everybody take a song, and there's just left. I'm sitting in the car and I'm like, okay, I don't think I was old enough to shout out, say, yeah, I need that song. So I just kind of waited until I realized that was the end of the cassette. I was like, okay. So I'm taking my time and sneaking out of the studio because I said, oh, Jimmy Cliff don't have no work for me for everything taken care of. As I reached the door, Jimmy Cliff just turned it and said, you're not leaving, are you? And I said, no. And he said, okay, what's your name again? He didn't even know who I was.
Wow.
And I said, Computer Paul. And I said, okay, I hear so much about you, man. And he started telling, he has a relative who lives in Florida who told him a lot about me, and he said he always wanted to meet me. And the reason for a while, I said, don't worry, man, don't worry about it. I'm going to give you that song to the album. And I tell you, on that album, I started out with one song, and I took it home, and I did the beats, I put everything together, came to the studio, and, played it for Jimmy, and he's like, whoa, yeah, this is what I want. And I ended up putting 5 songs on that album.
What?
Yeah, 5 songs. And one of the songs that I did, which was the last song, became the title track of the album.
What?
So that was the story of me meeting Jimmy.
Oh my God. There's that big bang noise. That is more than incredible. Are you kidding me? Here it is, a gentleman just humble, about to leave the studio, all these big top-notch musicians / producers, and you're about to leave and Jimmy Cliff stops you. Are you kidding me? This is good. This is a movie.
Right.
And then you end up producing 5 songs off the album, and then your song is the title track of the album, and then you have I Can See Clearly.
Title trap.
That.
Yeah, so, there's a whole Jamaican.
What's the name of the album? Wait, what's the name of the album? What's the name of that album? What's the name of that
It
album?
was Higher and High.
Higher and High.
That album got released by Jimmy Cliff on so many different labels. You know what I mean? It's re-released and re-released. So
Yeah.
myself and Clive did most of the production on the album.
Wow. That's... I mean, just listening to you, I could see that, or hear rather, that you have a sense of pride, and you should. That story is incredible. That's what you can teach children in class. That's like a story you take when you do. Do you do lectures? Do you do lectures at all?
No, not yet.
Okay, because please.
I guess to get there.
No, you're there, babe. You're there. When you do those lectures to college students who thirst, like myself, who was grown up back in the college with Jamaica, I feel, with music, who thirst for this, please don't forget that story, because it's so motivational. It really is. Okay, so that was.
It is. I mean, every time I think about it, that had I gone through the rest would have probably been. History would have probably been different.
Absolutely. Yes, that was divine energy. Yes, you're right.
He took my turn and said, just in time to stick through the door.
So, do you talk to Jimmy Cliff?
Jimmy's a very busy person. Jimmy hardly ever is in Jamaica.
Oh.
I
met his daughter a long time ago when I was on the air in Jamaica.
Jimmy Cliff. I've probably seen the clip probably twice since I Can See Clearly now. But Jimmy is an artist I admire still. He keeps moving on and searching for other things, you know what I mean? And I admire that about him. And the new trends that come along, Jimmy will jump into it. So, that's fine,
Wow. Well, thank you, Jimmy Cliff.
Outside of his old stuff, like Many Rivers to Cross and Hard
Yeah.
I Can See Clearly now is one of Jimmy Cliff's most probably the biggest commercial songs outside of those are singles. And it still is on contemporary radio today, all over the world.
You're phenomenal. So a string of hits happened. I'm sorry?
No, I said because I single-handedly played that rhythm track, drums, bass, keyboards. I only thing play was guitar and horns on that song, because we used live horns, but everything is myself. And voice too.
And recorded vocally?
Yeah. Did the lead vocals and background vocals and took it to New York, where we had it mixed in New York.
I'm glad I asked you when you repeat that, because I need now. When I listen to that record, I just have a different ear now.
Right. Because you see, I mean, we have producers that don't play, who are great producers still. You have quite a few of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't play. They're not musicians.
Mm-hmm.
But, you have also producers who are musicians. Who do play. And I'm one of them. Most of my productions, I do play instruments as much as I can play on it.
I am, with glee, like a little girl in a candy shop. This is so good. So, okay, the string of hits happened, and did you get any accolades for Grammy plaques, anything like that? I know you had Billboard hits. Any accolades for?
No, with Jimmy, I did get a record for that because it did over 5,000 in sales.
So you got
sure it's in the millions now, because that was
right.
That was just a couple months after that came out, because it was in the movie Cool Runnings.
That's right.
It really got a lot of promotion from being in the movie, But differently, I did get a Grammy nomination to get for some work that I did with an African artist named Baba Mal. That was for Island Records, while I was living in Florida.
Congratulations on your Grammy nomination.
Yeah.
And your plaques, your gold plaques. Now, I'm sure they're worth platinum now with all these hits that you have. Shabba Ranks alone.
Should be back now.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I worked on, I think like 2 Shabba in the albums, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The first album, As Raw As Ever, which is where I got my first gold record from. Big up Shabba Ranks, big up Bobby Shabba, the producer as well. I played 2 original tracks
Right. Well, we are talking to Computer Paul, everyone, producer extraordinaire, Mr. Paul Henton, with a string of hits, sharing the sacred history that he has in the music business and entertainment world. Now, can you just take us to what you were doing now? We know you're about to drop this a mega, album, various artists album, and I mean, I know the audiences have their favorites, but every track on there is produced very well. Greatest Love. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You want to talk about Greatest Love a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Greatest Love, my last project, I'm kind of like one a year. I do a major project, but sometimes other things kind of take priority. But I started this project probably about 2 years ago. The first song that I voiced on the rhythm was Brown Sugar, and her song was called Greatest Love. So I said, okay, this song is a good, great song anyway. You know what I mean? And I said, I'll name the rhythm after that song. So, and I just took my time. Artists pass through, they hear the track and they say, okay, yeah, I like that. I'll voice on it. Just give me a copy there, go write my song, and that's how it did. Mushroom. And I tell you, CHYNA, this is really my first project that I've had so many foreign-based artists on. Because most of my productions in the past were all pretty much Jamaican artists.
I noticed that.
Reach out and do something different, because I realized that there are a lot of artists, good artists living abroad, especially in New York. I lived in New York, so I know. You know what I mean? People like Ed Robinson, Ian Season, and a lot of others, who would not get in the real exposure. Because there's a prejudice in the bit, and I'll take you back a little. Back in the days when we did for Jah Life, we did Young Success album and Sister Cars album, that was that people could not really tell friends that this was made in New York or made in Jamaica.
Right.
Because prior to that, they'd always say, that make a New York sound foreign.
Yeah.
It always had some sound. So the mix was too light. Something was different about it. But that was the first time. Barnes and Leaving Murderer, all these songs came out. Nobody knew whether they were done in Jamaica or abroad. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we kind of set that trend. Myself, Danny Marshall, Earl Moore, quite a few musicians that came together at the time and were recording at ACNF. We set that trend that stuff would sound authentic. You know what I mean? So we kind of set that precedent then.
Nice.
So, as I said, this is why I'm really trying to reach out now to foreign-based artists, because as I say, a lot of times there's that prejudice that if it's not coming from Jamaica, radio don't rate it.
Thank you. Thank you for all those people that, live abroad.
Sometimes the foreign-based artists will do a better song than the Jamaican-based artists, but because it's coming from Jamaica, people just say Ray, and you know what I mean?
Right.
So, I really reached out this time when I got Ed Robinson.
Big up to Ed Robinson. Yeah.
I got from Florida, I got Washington and Michael Russell. From Canada, I got Little Bit Shepherd, Shepherd. Yep. And a artist by the name of Captain, a upcoming artist who's very talented too. So I really reached out this time because I wanted to have a wider cross section, so to speak.
Yes.
And the songs are
the songs are amazing, and we're going to be supporting it. And actually, Linkage, who just came back from Jamaica, said CHYNA is hot, and he's going to be supporting it. Plus, you guys already know each other, so yeah. I debuted it this past week, and we love it.
Tell him say if him don't play me, come bad him up.
Linkage. Yeah. So we love the music that you're putting out. And when was your last project? We just want to what was the lapse in time between your last project and this project?
The project was called
Stevie Face, right?
Yes. This album was the last project that came out October last year. But prior to that, as far as a rhythm album, it was the Double Trouble Juggling.
Okay. And what year was that?
That was 2 years ago.
Okay, so you take your time.
2000, end of 2000, and that year I think I put out an album by a roots reggae band called Pentateuch as well.
Okay.
Pentateuch.
Okay, so that's good. So you're still active, you're still working, you're still producing. Now that we're wrapping up, some goals that you have for yourself, being that you've made a name for yourself. You have a string of platinum records, gold records, and Grammy nominations. You know.
My thing is, I want to pass on a lot of knowledge that I have, to young producers, young musicians, So I've already started a school in Jamaica.
You did? What's the name of the school? What's the name of the school?
IMTP, which is Institute of Music Technology and Production. Yeah, it's T as in Tom, P as in Paul. So it's Institute of Music Technology and Production. And it's basically teaching the ropes of, if you want to learn to make beats, you could come and learn. If you want to be an engineer, you could come and learn to be an engineer. If you want to learn production, all of that stuff, you could come and do it. So,
that is
looking up, and I look forward to the future.
Stellar. Where is the school located?
And as I say, it's more about sharing the knowledge. I realize that a lot of times we don't pass on the knowledge from generation to generation, and it just lasts. And then the culture, because as far as I know, Studio One songs and rocksteady songs will forever play. Kids, when they're growing up, the teens, they won't pay too much mind to it. People living abroad, they'll probably be into hip hop and all that. But once they get to college and start really owning back their culture, they'll always grasp at those songs from the Heptones and all of that. You know what I mean?
Wow. So, what are the age ranges? How could people link you, connect to you if they want to learn more about the school or enroll?
I have a website which is computerpodreggae.com. Computerpodreggae.com, and it's a bit under construction now, but in another month or so I should be up and running, and I'll be able to sell my product as well online there, and information, and everything you need to know about IT will be there. So
the one stop shop.
Anybody listening here can check out my website in a month or so, and any information that they want on Computer Pod, they'll find it there.
So, is this school, just one more question about the school, because I'm a teacher also. So, one more question about the school. Is this a school for just primary children, high school kids, college? Like, what's the age range, or adults?
Well, I think I'm focused more on adult students now, but what
nice.
I plan is like workshops, like the holiday times.
Very nice.
Like younger kids can come, because a lot of them are interested, especially even 14, 15 who want enthusiastic and interested in making beats and stuff. Or just knowing how it's done.
That's awesome.
They hear a record on the radio and they don't know how it comes together.
So so hopefully you'll do those lectures, Mr. Computer Paul. Hopefully you'll get like a lecture in.
Definitely.
Yay! Okay, so gosh, what any words?
You're welcome to come and check out our course.
I will be a student, absolutely. I love to learn. So tell us an encouraging word. I will be there, seriously. Encouraging words that you would like to tell audiences before we wrap up.
For me, it's believing in yourself, believing in your goals. Put the Almighty first, God Almighty, I'm talking about, first in all things. Be conscientious, and be honest with yourself too, because a lot of times people come into the studio and they don't really have the talent that it requires, and because maybe their friends tell them that they sound good, but you have to still have some level of talent, and you have to put in a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Music is not all glamour and glitter, Some of the biggest artists have slept on studio floors to make it, and
or in cars. Seriously. Yeah.
It's you just believe in yourself and be willing to work. You know what I mean? A lot of people want stardom and fame, but they're not to put it in the work. They just feel that it will come, to be a gift from the Almighty or something, and it's not the reality. Yeah.
You've been such a joy. I knew it was going to be great. I wish that yes.
It's been a joy being here to China.
Well, thank you. I wish that you were here live so I can get a better, just audio from the telephone
Right,
link.
right.
But you just inspired the whole world, and we learned so much just from your stories. Your heart is vast, big, and varied, just like your music that you produce. And the school, for me, that just, you just like, you get like brownies, cookies, whatever, ice cream at Devon House, whatever, you know, fruit juice, mango, no. Just, you just get like a top tier for having the school. I love you.
You know, and you can see, you know, I mean, from athletes, football, every aspect of Jamaica is just great. And we just need to get it together, you know, I mean, in other little areas, we really need to get it together. But also that Jamaican reggae music is the greatest music in the world, and it can be imitated but never duplicated, you know, I mean, yeah, that's the reality of reggae music, you know. I want to big up all my brethren them in New York, you know, Danny Marshall, Noel Alfonso, Bardred, Big Sam Bardred, you know, all my other brethren them, you know, I mean, I don't want to call everybody name and then leave out one, so, you know, I just say all my brethren them, bereaved them.
Stay with us, don't go.
Linkage.
Big up Linkage.
And
Every
thanks
time.
for having me on your radio station, my boss.
Well, thank you again. More and more and more love and appreciation, and continue to just light up the world with your gift of music and knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to play your Jimmy Cliff song.
Okay.
All right, blessings. Wasn't that fabulous, everyone? That was just phenomenal. He is just, I mean, I don't want to let him go. I don't want to hang up. Hang up, Mr. Henton, Mr. Paul Henton. You hang up first. Computer Paul. He's still, hang up. Gosh, we love him. We love him. We love him. Okay. Mr. Linkage, Mr. Dexter Blake, I'm going to play some music. Brown Sugar will be here next week or the week after. We're going to reschedule her interview, and we're just going to continue to dedicate the show to Computer Paul. I'll just play the rhythm because we want to make sure this can go on YouTube. So I won't play the Jimmy Cliff right now. I'll play it right after this version, all right? This new production. We love you. We love you, Paul Hampton. Computer Paul, we love you.